Another Duly Noted podcast comes to you from the Coach's Podcast Room at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill in Celebration Point. Okay, and welcome into another Duly Noted podcast, as always, presented by the great folks over at Titan MRI, and, of course, coming to you from the Meldon Law Gator Studios here at Steve Spurrier's Gridiron Grill. Coach is still out for a while, so we're going to have him hopefully, I think he's going to be here Monday. He's had a lot of duties, Heisman and College Football Hall of Fame. So we're going to get him in here Monday, hopefully. And then I think Alyssa Lang is going to join us next Friday. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Alyssa had one of the great encounters with Mike Leach on the sidelines of an SEC game. We'll talk to her a little bit about that. But mostly just talk about how this season broke down and all the things that were surprises and not surprises. We're going to do that kind of a show. In fact, I wrote it down the back of this notebook on, I think it's going to be the 29th, which will be a Friday show where we'll talk about all the different things that happened, players of the year, stuff like that. We'll do a kind of an award show on that Friday. Drew Copland is on today from Sister Hazel, a great friend of mine. I love him as a musician. I think he's got one of the most incredible voices. Nobody believes it when they meet Drew that he sings like that, because he doesn't look like he sings like that. But he does sing like that, and he's amazing. And every year we do our picks. We pick against each other, and I beat him last year. He was on like a 5 or 6 year streak of winning. Loser buys lunch and donates money to Stop Children's Cancer, which we both do. So that'll be later today. So we'll get to the hand-law starting lineup, because I know when Drew comes on, it's gonna be a long conversation, because we love to talk, and he's been busy out on tour and stuff like that. So we haven't talked a whole lot. Let's get to the hand-law starting lineup, and of course, the hand-law starting lineup is always brought to you by Hand Law. Do you want me to start up the starting lineup as presented to you by Hand Law? That's what I figured. That moment of freeze where I looked over there and then I went, oh, we're taping. I can just go quiet. I don't have to say anything. And wait for her, see how long it takes for her to realize it. Okay. Are you ready to continue recording? You ready? Where's the 3, 2, 1? No, what do you want me to say? Do you want me to say okay, and as always, the Hand Law starting lineup is brought to you by Hand Law, Florida law firm, which helps clients with government and does a great job. We appreciate Chris Hand. I tell you what, he's been with us a long time, and sponsors like him are what makes this podcast keep going. If you like it, we have some opportunities still available, so if you want to get in there. But Chris has been with us really almost since the beginning. You can learn more about Hand Law by visiting his website at www.hand.law. The firm is available for consultation in Jacksonville. Jacksonville is a fire all of a sudden. I haven't gotten into a lot of NFL talk, and I'll be honest with you, I've got my sheet here with all the stuff I want to talk about. The NFL is probably not going to come up much, if at all. But it's starting to get interesting everywhere. And in Jacksonville, I know a lot of people are excited about Trevor Lawrence and the way he's playing all of a sudden now. So maybe he's got it. If they want to, I think they can, and this is totally unrelated to anything, but if they want to, I think they can build this into a contender, but they're going to have to do it. They're going to spend the money. They're going to be really smart with the guys they acquire. Don't go for big names necessarily. Go for good players. That's what I always say. The Hand Law starting lineup. We appreciate Chris Hand, of course, as I said. Number one, I want to ask this question because on the radio, and I'm going to do radio with Robbie Andrew today. I've been very negative about Florida in this game with Oregon State, which amazingly is Saturday. I think part of it is, where I'm not there, I'm not on site. Sometimes you can go to a site as a covering a game, and you kind of get a feel. Oh, they may be like we got fooled. The worst fooling we ever got was a 2012 Sugar Bowl, and all the players kept saying, "Oh man, all we're doing is we're getting Popeyes to go into our rooms and watching film." Well, no, that's not what they were doing, and they came out and they got their butts kicked by Louisville, and so we were fooled a little bit then. The day we went to the media day for the national championship in '95, Robbie and I both looked at each other and went, "Stampede." We knew it was not going to work out well for Florida. We were kind of ready for it. We were numb to it. There's other times when you go and you can tell what a team's going to do, because I'm not Las Vegas. Nobody wanted to pay for me to go to Las Vegas. We talked about it, didn't go. I have no idea what the mindset is. They're doing a lot of good things out there. You can see they're having fun. They're doing great charity things, which I think is tremendous to be doing that at a bowl site. But it goes back to the same things. It goes back to those two guys. Before the season, how many times did I say this? Probably too many times. Florida could be a 6-6 team if they lose both Richardson and Ventrell Miller for a long period of time. That was my thing. Okay, that was totally wrong. They were a 6-6 team with those guys, but they still are the leaders of both sides. That's why I just don't. I'm not optimistic about it, but we'll see how it goes. I'm maybe too pessimistic. And that will get me to number 2, which is they've got a guy in Ben Gilbertson who is 6-1 as a starter. He came in because the other quarterback got hurt, and he's already in the transfer portal. And they got they got some good players, but these aren't draftable players. Not a lot of them. In fact, the one draftable player opted out. But the guy you got to worry about is Damian Martinez. And here's the funny thing is, Oregon State got really good. They kind of surprised people this year. 9-3 on the season. Beat Oregon in the last game and ruined their chances of going to the Rose Bowl. And Oregon State has always been the little brother to Oregon, to everybody in the Pac-12. I mean, they've had, like I mentioned earlier, they're trying for their third 10-win season ever. Spurrier had those in 3 years at times. So it's an important game for them. And I think that's the biggest reason I kind of feel like this team is going to really play at a high level, because they really want to win this game. But Damian Martinez, for example, is 30 yards away from 1,000 yards for a year. He's a true freshman. But because they've gotten good, and they have another freshman, Jack Vellier, I think it is, Velling, I'm sorry, who is a tight end, really good player, was on the all-freshman team. But because they're so good now, they're worried about re-recruiting their own guys. So they've got that on their heads. They've got that in their minds as they go through bowl week. We got to make sure he's happy, because other teams are going to come in here. What's going on with recruiting of NIL and players on campus on teams that have not declared for the transfer portal is borderline criminal. And if the NCAA, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, doesn't get involved in this to a little bit better extent than nothing, it's going to be disappointing. All right, number 3 on Hanlaw's starting lineup, the path to victory for Florida. Is there one? Of course there is. I mean, this is a 9-3 Pac-12 team, a 6-6 SEC team. If this was a 7-5 SEC team and they'd beaten Vanderbilt, which is always going to be the low point of the year, you would consider it to be about even. Of course, Florida's a 10-point underdog. In this game, the spread it got a little really high, like 11.5, and it came down a little bit. And then, so the path it's the same path as always, guys. win the turnover battle. Doesn't guarantee anything, but it's part of the plan to win. In my mind, this is my plan, not Urban Meyer's plan. This is my plan to win. Win the turnover battle. Have fewer penalties than they do, which has not happened in the last 2 games that Florida played. And you hope that they've been aberrations, and they've been really good all year. They got to get better at that. Make one play on the special teams that impacts a game. Just one. That's all I'm asking for. And then get some 3-and-outs. The number of 3-and-outs, I think, is totally – I bet you if you look at 3-and-outs nationally, the teams that are at the top are the teams that are getting the most 3-and-outs. You can't stay on the field all day, which they've done all year. There's no reason to think it's going to be any different, and that's why I tend to get negative about this. I'm not negative about Jack Miller being the starter. I'm not negative about the players that are playing in this game that are really good. Running backs obviously have done so well all year, and they got Ricky Pearsall, all this, but I can see a path to getting enough points. I can't see a path to stopping them from getting points. So that's why I tend to be a little negative. But we'll watch the game. We'll enjoy it. It's a bowl game. Hey, if you're Miami or Texas A&M, you're going, what are we going to do this weekend? And that gets me to number 4 on the hand-loss starting lineup. Commitment yesterday, which was a big deal yesterday afternoon, Samson Okunalola, probably not even close on the pronunciation, committed to Miami. Florida thought they were going to get him. We saw the Hugh Hathcock tweet, "It's a great day to be a Gator." That was the same tweet he sent out the day Jaden Rashada flipped to Florida, and you went, oh, they're going to get him. They didn't get him. He went to Miami. Look, I don't know what to believe anymore about, and this is why that we need transparency in the NIL. The rumor is Florida thought they had him, and then John Ruiz or whoever came in with a bigger offer. This is what's going on. It's part of it, and it's just kind of a sad situation. That's where we are, but it's where we are. It's not going to get better. I'll talk about that a little bit later on the show. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. Finally, I did want to say something about Mike Leach passing away. It hit me hard. Really did. We've had great conversations on the phone. We've never met really in public except for hello at the SEC Media Days. We talked about this the other day. Always sent a helmet to the game, to the golf tournament every year. First one to always arrive would be the Mike Leach one. The more you read about him, the more you hear about him. One of my regrets in life, in fact, it's a bucket list thing I can't do, would have been to cover Mike Leach. I got to cover the GOAT, and that was Spurrier. There's nobody ever been better to cover for anybody in the media. But Mike Leach would be like that 1B, And I know Coach Spurrier, hopefully he's on Monday. I think he will be on Monday, and he'll talk about it a lot, Coach Leach, because he was very close to him. And, of course, his son worked there. So, look, I could say a million things about Mike Leach. You guys have heard it all by now, but the bottom line is I didn't agree with a lot of things he said, but I agreed that he was the most interesting coach in college football for a long time, after Coach Spurrier retired, of course, because until then, you know who was number one. Anyway, we're going to do something at our golf tournament to commemorate him because he donated. And again, I know it wasn't a financial thing, but he made the effort, and I think it was 12 years in a row. We got a helmet from Mississippi State or from Washington State signed by him. Now, the Washington State signed by Mike Leach wasn't going for a lot of money, but people, it was like a talking point. So it was kind of cool. Anyway, we'll talk about more with that later with Drew Copland from Sister Hazel is going to join us. We'll do our picks. We'll let you know who we think are going to win the bowl games when we return on another Dooley Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Dooley Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adam Brewer To Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where, everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adam's Rib Co. to go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Bite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life. And the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Albert, Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley Storytime is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. It's always a great pleasure annually. And make sure I said that right.
That was correct. That was good.
Annually to bring on Drew Copland for our annual picks contest. Last year, winner.
Yeah.
Chicken
winner,
dinner.
Chicken dinner, yeah.
But this year we're going to do 13 games. And then at the end, we'll do a yes, no, way, or maybe as well.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, well, you'll find out. Anyway, you guys have been out a lot. Yeah, in fact, we were looking at Ocala for maybe going down to see you in concert, and then there was only 2 seats separate. That was all that was left because you had sold it out. And Karen goes, "Well, that's good with me." And I'm like, but no, I would rather sit next to you.
Yeah, that was a fun show. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of seated theaters like that kind of thing, but it didn't take long for people to get up and be a part of the show, so it was fun.
It is pretty amazing. You guys are still plugging away. I mean, you're in your 70s right now.
Yeah, 70. I'm 78 right now. That's how I feel. No, but I will say, man, honestly, and I mean this sincerely. I'm not just saying this. There's a part of me that's like, it's hard enough to stay in the music business for any length of time. But Ken and I have been singing together and making a living playing music for 32 years.
Wow.
Like
pretty amazing.
Forever. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I would have never guessed that. Of course, I never thought I was going to be a musician in the first place. So the whole thing is a mystery to me.
How did it start for you?
Ken and I were at a tailgating party for a Tennessee. It was a Florida-Tennessee game, and it was right across from the stadium. And he picked up a guitar and started playing "Peaceful Easy Feeling," and I started singing harmonies with him. And all of our socially lubricated friends were like, "Man, that's awesome! You guys are the best!" And the next thing you know, we I think the first public appearance was we did a couple of songs at my sister's wedding.
Really?
And then we booked some gigs, and I could barely play guitar and sing at the same time. And we just kept doing more and more gigs, and I learned how to play and sing. And actually, right before I was graduating from Florida, I told Ken was like, I want to start I want to do a band. I want to make us a band. And I was like, I'm not into that. So I'll stay with you until I graduate or until you find somebody to replace me, and then I'll go.
So what were you going to do?
I was going to go get a job. I graduated building construction, and I was taking interviews with a bunch of major construction firms down south.
You're going to be a hard hat guy?
I was going to be a hard hat guy, yeah.
Get some more lumber over there.
Yeah, more nails. So I had a few things happen that went sideways personally, and decided, I was like, well, I'll just do this for a couple of years. And then in the end of 96, we got a record deal, and there you go.
Yeah. Still doing the rock boat?
Yeah, Ken's still looking for somebody to replace me. But so I hope that doesn't happen now.
No. And we'll get into that a little bit later in the show when we do Yes, No, Where, Maybe. But
right.
Every year we do the picks. We've done them for, I don't know how many years, 15 years?
A lot of years.
Yeah.
It's actually a lot of fun, man.
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
It's fun when I beat you. It's not fun when you beat me, because then it's you send me these texts like,
I'm always texting.
Man, you suck so much with your picks. But I tend to pick off what I know rather than what is actually going to happen.
Yeah, and also I will admit, for years you've given me the advantage of letting me pick first, and you just not always pick the other team, but a lot of times you pick the other team. So that's not necessarily fair. But
well, let me ask you this: this time we got 13 games.
Yeah.
Do you want to do them with the spreads or without the spreads? Because we've done some games with spreads, without spreads.
Probably without.
Okay.
It's just easier to keep up with.
And there's not a lot of big spreads, to be honest with you. I think the biggest one was 10.5, and we'll still tell you what the spreads are, but it's still
Sure.
we're going to pick without the
Yeah.
spreads. So we'll start off with the playoff games, and Michigan, TCU, obviously one of them. Michigan is a 7.5 point favorite, just so you know. Michigan is has been very impressive all year, and I love that TCU team. In fact, I voted for Max Duggan for the Heisman.
Yeah.
He was my first place vote.
Yeah, they're a good team, but that Kansas State game was a little bit revealing. I didn't see that coming, and that was
no, but they've been that way all year. They just find ways to win.
Yeah.
And if they'd given the ball, let Max Duggan run the ball in the last 2 plays there from the 1 yard line,
Yeah.
they probably still would have found a way to win.
No, that's true. That's true. No, they're a good team, but the Ohio State game against Michigan is where I went, okay, man, they're like, I watched them all year, but honestly, I don't have a lot of respect for that conference necessarily, talent-wise across the board. So that was kind of a big test, and they passed it with flying colors. So it was like, they're for real.
Yep, they are. I'm picking Michigan too. I just I think they are a really good team. And again, with Corum out, it does make a difference, but I think they'll be fine. And then, of course, your favorite team, Georgia Bulldogs, against Ohio State. Another one of your favorite teams.
Yeah. I hope that they tie 0-0 and they just say, okay, y'all mutually suck, and let's just call this a game.
I was surprised Georgia's only 6.5-point favorite.
I'm a little surprised at that, especially after Michigan, Michigan did to Ohio State. Man, Georgia is so
and Ohio State's already had their best receiver opt out, so that's a factor as well.
Is anybody not playing for Georgia?
No, of course not.
Yeah, they're all playing.
They're playing for championships. They're
right? Yeah,
play.
I guess you're right. That would make no sense. And I look, I'll just say it, man. And I know this isn't nice or whatever, but I'm just Stetson Bennett, man. I can't like him. I just don't like him.
Really?
I don't.
I don't dislike him. I actually put him second on my Heisman ballot.
Well, and I think that's being logical at looking what he does, but he just doesn't come across as a likable dude, and I have nothing to base that on. And plus, I'm a Florida
here's what
fan.
you have to base it on. He beat Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that. But I'd have to hate a lot of people this year.
Last 2 years.
Yeah. So.
I actually referred to after they played Tennessee. I think Florida goes on their revenge tour now, and because every team they were going to play had beaten them the year before.
Yeah,
it was just sad, to think about it. And then they all beat them again, pretty much.
Yeah, and I will say that the low point, losing to Vandy was.
Yeah,
I'm still a little scarred.
Well, here's the only thing to take from this that's good. Vandy fans aren't going to taunt you. I mean, there's only like 9 of them in the first place.
They're too smart.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, that was an interesting development there. We were drinking some white wine and eating some brie when that happened. That was shocking. And I can't.
Well, I'll tell you the other bad thing too is you would think that some of this would humble Florida fans. But it doesn't. It's like, what's it going to take to put us back in the place where we go, hey, man, anytime we win games, I'm happy. Okay, we didn't win by 30, and people are angry. Like, that kind of stuff is so irritating. But anyway.
The angriest I heard on our radio show with Jeff and I, the angriest I heard Gator fans all year was after they beat USF. Right. That was the angriest I ever heard.
Right.
They were like,
that's ridiculous.
We stink. We only won by 3, and we could have lost the game. And I'm like, well, you did win.
Well, and the other thing, too, that's very telling about our fan base, which I'm a Gator, like full on, always will be. But just looking back at the Urban Meyer era and having anybody complaining, and I'm like, the dude brought 2 national championships home. Like, I get it. You can say all the things that you want to say, but ultimately that time period when he was here and Billy Donovan was here was some of the best Gator days of our lives. And so to talk smack about it is really pretty irritating.
Look, there are reasons why some people don't like Urban, as we know. And some of it stuff happened in Jacksonville, stuff happened other places that has nothing to do with Florida. But I think I was talking to Karen about this. It might have been somebody else. Might have been Jeff. Who brought more tradition to the University of Florida than Urban Meyer? I mean, that Heavener building is there because of Urban. Those bricks that Osiris Torrance is going to get, that brick out there, is because of Urban Meyer. We sing the alma mater because of Urban Meyer. There's a Gator walk because of Urban Meyer. Yeah.
And isn't the team going down to the end zone at the end of the game? Isn't that him?
That's all him.
Yeah, it's all him.
So I mean, I think maybe you have to look past everybody's faults sometimes to get to the core of what they are.
Yeah, because you're missing out on just enjoying what happened during that time period. But that's our fan base. That's just what you get.
It's different.
Yeah. Okay.
But it's like I've said this many times. This fan base went through the wilderness for 70 years.
Oh yeah,
years.
for sure.
80 years. We won the SEC finally. Now we're taking it away. Can't have it. That's it. That was the entire history of Florida football. And then it was like, okay, now you got Spurrier. You're going to win almost every game. You're going to play for the SEC championship every year. You're probably going to win it.
Crazy points.
You're going to win the national title. Watch. And then we're going to give you a little Zook, cocktail, and then we're going to bring in Urban, and you're going to win 2 national championships. It's unbelievable.
Crazy. So we're going to talk about the Gators.
We're going to get to that. But you're taking Georgia?
So I'm going Georgia.
Okay. I got it written down here.
Yeah.
You and I agree on the first 2. That's not good.
No.
All right. Next up is Florida and Oregon State in the
Las Vegas Bowl.
What is it? Whatever it is.
That bowl. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's already played. It was like the 1st of December. That's how early that bowl game.
I think it's over. Yeah. It was 1914. I can't remember who it was.
So look, man. You know me. I'm never going to bet against Florida. That's just I'm a Gator. I don't care if we're using the 4th-string equipment manager at quarterback.
I think he's second team.
He's second team. I'm fine with that, and so I'm a Gator fan. That's who's going to win that game.
Well, I disagree. Moose breath. I just don't. I think this was a bad matchup for Florida if everybody was playing. Now you take away the one guy that always gave you a chance, although sometimes it was not for the positive.
Right.
In your quarterback, you take away the best defensive player in Ventrell Miller. I just think Oregon State will find a way to win. If I'm doing the spread's 10 now. It actually came down a little bit. Once Richardson announced, it went way up, and now it's kind of come down a little bit. I might take Florida, but since we're not doing spreads, I'm going to take Oregon State. The Gasparilla Bowl, which you know very well because Florida was in it last year.
Yes.
And I know you went to that game. I'm sure you were there for that.
Oh, yeah. Got there early.
Drinking some Gasparilla. Wake Forest versus Missouri. Interesting game there because Sam Hartman is playing for Wake Forest. And a lot of people think he may end up here, but I think he's going to the NFL. But
yeah. And Missouri was pretty schizophrenic this year.
Very much so.
You didn't know really which team was going to show up for the game, but I actually believe that the team that's going to show up is the one that beats Wake Forest. So I'm going Missouri, and it's not just because I'm an SEC guy. I actually think Wake Forest was looking for more out of this year than what they ended up with, and it might be a little bit of a letdown game for them even to be playing Missouri. And I think Missouri's stoked to be playing in the Gasparilla Bowl.
Yeah, the thing about Missouri is they have a really good defense, and they can they shot against Georgia. They almost won the game against Georgia because of their defense. Their offense is still very shaky. I'm going to take Wake. I think Sam Hartman wants to go out with a win. So we're disagreeing on one.
Okay, there we go.
You got Missouri.
All right, so I'm winning 1-0. Now what?
1-0 now. We're going to go with the Liberty Bowl, Kansas versus the other Kansas, Kansas.
This seems to be really a toss-up to me. I don't know.
Obviously. The problem for Kansas went right down the tubes at the end of the season. They were 5-0, and game day was out there, and they kind of went down the tubes. They played hard. Arkansas was just kind of, again, another schizophrenic team all year.
Yeah. This one I am picking only because I'm an SEC guy. I'm going with Arkansas.
Yeah, I am too. And a lot of it has to do with the way Kansas kind of pooped the bed down the stretch. So
right.
I don't think they're going to win that game. Let's go to the Texas Bowl, which is somewhere in Texas. I don't know where. Texas Tech versus Ole Miss. That's our SEC team there.
Yeah.
Ole Miss is 3.5 point favorite. I'm going to go ahead and pick first. I am picking Texas Tech in this game.
Really?
Yeah, because I don't know how interested Ole Miss is going to be in playing this game. And the game's in state of Texas, Texas Tech. And I think they're going to play hard for Mike Leach's memory.
Texas Tech is?
Yes.
The kids at Texas Tech?
He was there like 13 years, 11 years.
They don't know that, the kids that are playing this game. You know what? I'm
reaching.
I just decided I'm going to win that one too after hearing that. I think that Ole Miss has too much offense. I think that Texas Tech's defense is not completely porous, but I think that it'll be exposed. And it'll be closer than people think, but I think Ole Miss wins that game.
Okay, I switched something up for you here because I decided we wouldn't pick the national championship game because we don't know who's in it. So
Yes, we do.
Instead, well, I know we kind of do, but instead we're going to pick your favorite team
It's so funny. You
Florida
say
State.
That. It's so funny you say
against Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a 3.5 point underdog. No, I'm sorry. Oklahoma is a 7.5 point underdog. In
Yeah.
the game.
Well, look, man, this is so hard to say. But Florida State, they're playing well. And that does look like a good matchup with Oklahoma's defense. Isn't that
They've been
great?
struggling all year. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't like FSU, so I'm picking Oklahoma because
Yeah.
I don't want to have any reason to cheer even momentarily for FSU. So I'm going
And I
Oklahoma.
won't, but I will say this: I like picking FSU because then if they win, at least I got something out of it. You know.
Yeah, that's true.
So I'm picking the Knowles. We go to Miami's bowl game.
All right, you win that one,
wait,
probably.
oh, there's no bowl game for them. That's right. I guess we can't pick Miami's
No,
bowl
let's
game.
not pick theirs.
Yeah,
Oh man,
the toilet bowl.
yeah,
It's a weird deal there.
poor team.
Yeah. All right. Let's get to the good ones. Gator Bowl, Notre Dame, South Carolina. South Carolina is a 2-point underdog. South Carolina had the most bizarre final 3 games of the season I've ever seen in my life.
I kept going, man, it just can't be true. like what we're seeing is that
I thought that when they played Florida. I go, this team's better than this. Why are they playing so bad?
yeah,
And I go, I guess they've quit.
right. But I believe it after watching. So when they beat Tennessee the way they did,
Yeah.
Rattler was
Hendon Hooker, a
yeah
Heisman.
He was playing like that was like one of those games where he could have closed his eyes and just thrown the ball in the air and it was going to be a touchdown.
Yeah.
And sometimes those things happen. But then when they went and beat Clemson, I was like, oh crap, man, they're really not a bad team. And I do like their coach too. I will say,
Beamer.
So yeah, I do, man. He seems like a good guy.
I like a guy that believes in special teams, and I'm trying to get
Yes.
Billy Napier to do that. I've been pushing him that way with everything I've written because, I mean, he's talked about special teams, but Florida special teams did nothing this year. There was
No,
nothing.
and man, Urban was a big special teams guy.
Huge.
And
in
it
fact,
made a big difference for us.
In fact, when Urban was here speaking of the quarterback club, we were talking about the season, and he goes, he was asking about special teams. He goes, did they ever try to block a punt or did they ever try a fake punt or anything like that? And I go, nah. And Urban just looked over at me and gave me a fist bump. He goes, basically to say, well, I did.
Right.
You know, I did all the
Yeah.
time. And he was right. He did unbelievable. I mean, their special teams were a weapon. And that's what I want Florida to go
Absolutely.
back to.
Who was it? Was it Brandon James? Who was the?
Well, Brandon James was a returner, but Chris Rainey would block punts.
Oh yeah,
because he was so fast, and they had a scheme to do it. And whatever they came up with it always worked because it was.
I agree,
well thought out.
and if you look at the difference that kind of stuff makes during a game, even a couple of big plays by the special teams, it's a momentum thing all the time.
Absolutely.
So I'm with you. I wish we would beef that up for us. But anyway, I'm going to go with South Carolina.
Okay, I did too. I picked them. And that's probably we're both going to probably lose because Notre Dame's got a good team. But they're not great. You don't know what they're going to show up with. Orange Bowl. It's going to be all orange down there.
Yeah.
Tennessee versus Clemson.
Yeah, but Tennessee lost their main man, and so it's going to be.
They
Clemson.
still got Joe Milton.
I tried to stay straight faced, but no. Yeah, no, that's going to.
I think because we saw him play here last year, and he was just not very good.
Yeah.
And then we saw him play this year, and he wasn't very good.
Yeah.
But Heupel's a pretty good coach. I just if it was Tennessee against
He is a good coach.
like Oregon State, for example. If they were playing Oregon State, I would go, he'll find a way to score enough points. But against Clemson, I don't think that's going to happen. So
We're both going Clemson.
yeah. And again, the other quarterback will be the starter now because DJ Uiagalelei has gone to the transfer portal, and
okay.
I'm literally going to put a no Uiagalelei's allowed in Gainesville. I don't want him coming here. Can I do that to the out there to
I
a
don't
sign?
think that's yeah.
All right, next up is Iowa, Kentucky in the Music City Bowl. Iowa is a 2.5 point favorite. the game nobody wants to watch, I would say, because it'll probably be 10-7.
Yeah, well, and Iowa won their last 4 games in a row, and against
Yeah.
there was a couple of good teams
They
in
won.
there too.
They did, but they scored 19 points. I think to score.
Yeah, and Kentucky lost 3 of their last 5 games.
They did.
Hey, is Kentucky's quarterback their starting guy? Is he playing?
I don't think he is.
He's not?
He's going pro, and he's going to be a high pick. So I'd have to look that up, but I don't think he's playing. Does that change your pick?
That affects my pick because I was going to go with Kentucky if he was playing.
I will tell you this: I could be just like sucking you in by, oh, he's not playing. There's no way he's playing. Then he comes out and he's like MVP of the bowl game.
Because I do like him. I think he's a pretty good player.
Yeah, he's all right.
He's all
He's
right.
talented. I don't know. His offensive line was terrible. I'm going to pick Iowa based on. I just think that they've got a more stable situation, but
that puts me in a little bit of a stinker just because, like I said, they won their last 4 games in a row. They won, and 2 of them were against good teams.
Yep.
Okay, I'll pick Kentucky.
Okay, here we go. We gotta wrap these up real quick.
Right.
Alabama versus Kansas State in the Sugar Bowl. Alabama 3-point favorite.
Yeah, well, it's weird for Alabama to be in a game that doesn't mean as much as it is supposed to. So I guess,
and I have no idea what their mindset's going to be.
Right. So the question is, how good is your coaching?
Yeah.
And I think we know the answer to that. So I'm going with Alabama.
Okay, I agree with you on that one. Mississippi State versus Illinois, and obviously I'm going to talk about Mike Leach a little bit later, but you never know with a game like this whether this team's going to play its heart out for Mike Leach's memory or whether he's not calling plays, and he's the thing that gave them an edge. And so you don't – like if you're just looking at it as a football game, who do you pick? Illinois grinds it out. I'm going to take Illinois because I think Mississippi State's going to have the opposite of we're going to win this one for Coach Leach effect.
Okay, and I'm going the other way because I do believe they will. I got to meet him one time. Ken and I did an acoustic thing for a coach's – it was like a coach's gathering down in Orlando, and I got to sit at a table with him and have a couple of beers and listen to him talk. And the guy was super sharp, really funny, extremely kind. I have nothing but great things to say about him. He will be missed for sure. I'm going Mississippi State.
Yeah, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I'll say it a million times. Every year when I try to hit up coaches, and I hit up you for guitar every year, and you come through. Every year I hit up coaches for helmets. One guy came through every time, and that was Mike Leach.
Yeah,
without hesitation.
Yeah,
it was always absolutely boom. Next thing you know, it'd be in the mail, and just a great guy. Certainly a different guy, but
oh yeah.
I mean, I could tell stories about,
but we're not. We're 2 guys that shouldn't make fun of different guys.
No, exactly, exactly. I'm wearing a T-shirt in there. All right, what are we at now? Oh, LSU. Oh, I'm taking Illinois, by the way.
And I'm taking Mississippi State. Yeah.
All right, then LSU versus Purdue in the Citrus Bowl. Steve Spurrier's favorite bowl to make fun of. LSU is a 10.5-point favorite. A lot of it because Purdue's coach left, and I would lean towards LSU. I don't know that I would want to give the 10.5. But, with Purdue having to go through a new coach, I know where I'm going.
So this is all emotional for me. It has 0 to do with the game. Brian Kelly irritates me, man.
Oh.
He does. He irritates me. And
I'm right there with you.
he's got him playing. The team is playing good football, but I also believe that that's short-lived. I'm not sure this was him as much as it was the players he had in place, and it just all kind of clicked at the right time for him. But he irritates me, and I'm not picking him. I'm going with Purdue.
Maybe they will. I mean, they played Michigan really tough.
Yeah.
In that Big Ten bowl game. All right, those are our picks, and now it's time for us to get to Yes, No, Way, or Maybe with Drew Copland from Sister Hazel. And, of course, Yes, No, Way, or Maybe is brought to you by Big Mills Cheesesteaks. Street dining done right. If you go into Big Mills Cheesesteaks and order anything you want, you get free fries if you mention Another Duly Noted podcast.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so go in there and do that.
That's what I need.
And say you were on it. Maybe they'll give you the hot dog, too, or the sausage dog, or the cheesesteak, or whatever. All right, number 1, Florida will be in the first 12-team playoff 2 years from now. Yes, no way, or maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Is that totally fan-based?
No, man, as much as the transfer portal seems like a disaster for college football as well as the NIL, it's kind of exciting, and it seems like Napier and his staff have a good handle on getting the pieces of the puzzle that you need through that. So I believe it's that. I'm trying to use some logic in that,
Yeah.
but of course I'm also
Well, and I think that if in the third year they're not at least in the hunt for it, then you kind of go, maybe this isn't going as well as you'd like.
right.
It's
true,
not going to
too.
be next year. Next
No.
year, you're rebuilding an entire roster with the same difficult schedule.
I give it the same scale that everybody gave this year. Like if we win 8 games, that will be unbelievable.
Yeah.
If we win, and as it goes down, and if we end up 6-6 again, that'll be really disappointing.
All right, number 2, obviously you play barefoot. You have stepped on something really sharp during a concert.
Okay. Have I?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, yes, no way, or maybe.
Yes. Yes. Sorry.
What's the sharpest thing you fell on?
Glass. So I've stepped on glass.
And like blood coming out everywhere?
Not everywhere, and this is kind of gross, but I've got because I'm barefoot a lot, so I have calluses. I've got my feet are pretty tough.
So you just cut open your calluses?
Well, it was stuck in there for a little bit, and I could feel it. No blood yet, and I think I stepped one time too many on the glass, and finally got through all that. And then yes, there was some blood.
You were tapping your feet, so you.
Yeah. Luckily, I don't have very good time, so I didn't tap them a lot, but it worked out.
All right, finally on yes, no way, or maybe you are looking forward to the Weird Al Yankovic movie.
No. Did I think about that long enough? Yeah. Did I think about it long enough? Should I think about that longer?
Well, I mean, Daniel Radcliffe is playing Weird Al, and
no.
I'm out.
No.
I didn't like him when he was.
Yeah, I didn't like
whatever he was. I mean,
Right.
Would you consider him a star or a celebrity?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Apparently, he's a really good guy too.
Well, now I feel bad, but no, I'm not
Yeah.
looking for. I still don't change my.
You wouldn't go to the theater to see that.
No.
If it was on HBO, you might go, "Hey, let me take a look."
No.
No.
No, I would not.
All right, that's going to do it on the picks for this year, and hopefully I won again, and we'll get another lunch out of it. We always look forward to it. And the loser also gives $100 to Stop Children's Cancer, and that we believe majorly in that charity. And
Absolutely.
you guys do Lyrics for Life, and I do the golf tournament.
Yeah.
Is there any way May 13th you're going to be around?
I'll have to check my calendar, but
Yeah.
it's possible. But man, our touring schedule, thankfully, it's still cranking along, man.
If you come out there, it'd be your first one.
I know,
All
man,
the
that's
stuff
sad.
you've done for this tournament, you've done so much for it, but
Not played.
haven't
it.
played it.
I know. I deserve.
Once
to
you
get to
played
do
it
that.
at once, you will make them set their schedule around the Bob Dooley.
I wish I had pull in my own band. I just don't.
All right, thanks to Drew for coming in here. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Hesser and Kipke's 3 things. We'll get to our Adams Ribco to Go Gator of the Week, and of course, as always, Leonardo's Quick Picks. We appreciate all of our sponsors, Pat Dooley's Story Time. There's a lot of stuff to get to when we come back on another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. Hello there, everybody. I'm Pat Dooley, of course, from another Duly Noted podcast. And this is a great Adam Brewer, and he's just opened up a place here, Adams Ribco to Go. What gave you the idea to do this, to have a to-go place like this?
We really like the fast concept, being able to get the barbecue. Now we have this new online ordering. So before it was a call ahead carry out, quick service. We have like a curbside kind of a deal where everything's ready to go for you. And then we thought, wow, we have a really great dine-in concept, but how can we make this streamlined for the customer and make it easy and accessible for all parts of town?
Adams Ribco to Go. Come on down and enjoy it.
Great food, great atmosphere, a diverse menu, everything made from scratch, plenty of space, and locally owned. These are all the characteristics of a great restaurant, and you can find each and every one of them right here in Gainesville at Ballyhoo Grill. Ballyhoo Grill prepares all of their food fresh every day, from their salad dressing to their award-winning soups. Bring your family and enjoy dinner under the Tim Trebo Tiki Hut while listening to live music. Or if you're running low on time to eat out, they also deliver through Uber Eats, Spite Squad, and Postmates. A Gainesville staple that's been open for over 30 years. Check out Ballyhoo Grill on Facebook or at ballyhoogrill.com.
Things have certainly got a little out of hand lately when it comes to just buying our everyday necessities. Just look at gas, streaming services, and heck, even chicken wings. Well, there is one necessity that shouldn't cost a ton: taking care of yourself and helping fix all the aches and pains in life, and the fine folks at Titan MRI agree. With costs a fraction of what you'd pay at a hospital, you'll not only save money, you'll be taken care of by staff with over 20 years experience. So when you need an MRI, call Titan first, and you can go where your doctors send their families. Now offering CAT scans.
Alberta, I understand you were witnesses to a crash. Can you tell us about the accident? When you're in a crash, it's important to get witness statements immediately after the accident. Whether you're in a car, truck, motorcycle, scooter, or even a golf cart accident, at Meldon Law, we won't back down.
Pat Dooley's Story Time is brought to you by East Lake Pediatrics. Nobody knows how to provide pediatric health care for little gators better than Dr. Mike and the other board-certified pediatricians and the pediatric nurse practitioners of East Lake Pediatrics. They have been providing personalized health care to the children of Pinellas, Pasco, and Hillsborough counties since 2004. And with the recent addition of Dr. Chris, who is also board certified in sports medicine, they are now offering care for youth sports injuries as well. To learn more about East Lake Pediatrics, call 727-372-6760. And to get to know them better, listen to Dr. Mike and Dr. Carey on their Peds and Pop podcast on multiple platforms. Gator football is back, and the best way to get exclusive insight is a membership in the Gainesville Quarterback Club. As the oldest Gator booster club in the world, Gainesville Quarterback Club gives you the access to speakers like coaches, Gator greats, and more. Yeah, I even talk over there. It's pretty cool. Share your passion for Gator football with hundreds of other members at weekly in-person meetings or for non-locals via Zoom with an out-of-town membership. Right now, out-of-town memberships are only $150, and all new out-of-town signups get entered to win 2 Champions Club tickets to homecoming. That's pretty cool. Against Missouri, speaker presentations, home game tailgates, and special events throughout the year. Join the Gainesville Quarterback Club today. Email the club at membership@quarterbackclub.org or call me, Pat Dooley, 352-317-3444, and I'll get you in touch with the right people. Gainesville Quarterback Club.
Is your bank dropping the ball, not playing with heart or skill? Then you need to check out the scouting report on Campus USA Credit Union. That's a 5-star recruit if I've ever seen one. Campus has it all, like great rates and products, friendly service, and smart game plans for you and your money. So why not put some star power in your financial life? Visit campuscu.com or any campus service center today.
Honey, can I recruit you to take the garbage out?
Okay, welcome back to another Duly Noted podcast presented by Titan MRI from the Meldon Law Gator Studios. And we appreciate Drew for coming in and appreciate for him doing the Yes, No, We, or Maybe on from Big Mill's Cheesesteaks. And we appreciate all our sponsors. And we'll get right to it. But first, we have to say goodbye to our man, Jason Bennett, or as Steve Spurrier likes to call him, my man, right? Yeah, you got to get on there. There we go. Who is leaving us, and he's done a great job producing, and we appreciate him. I've known him for a long time because we worked together at RUF too. So you'll be hearing a lot of great things from him. Tammy is now going solo, like Tom Petty, and the talk on the street says you might go solo. That's what you're doing now. You are a one-woman band. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. All right, let's get to three things. And, of course, three things, as always, presented by Hesser Kipke, a law firm based in Hale Plantation, specializing in employment, workers' comp, and family law. Visit their website at www.hklawfl.com or call Ken and Jennifer at 352-339-9920. I did want to mention, too, you know, we've been kind of sporadic with Robbie during the holiday season and during all the stuff that's been going on. And of course, I don't think I mentioned the other day that his appearances are also sponsored by Hesser Kipke, and we appreciate them. I think Robbie will be back on Monday. And actually, he'll be on the radio with me today at 4 o'clock on WRUF. All right, number one on the three things. The National Labor Relations Board of Los Angeles has filed this motion to basically sue USC, the Pac-12, and the NCAA. And a lot of you would say, hey, the gobbledygook, just tell me what's going to happen. I agree with you. But it appears that this is a big deal. They're trying to say the players at USC are employees. They're not student athletes. And this is where you could see the end of NIL because of this. It could be just you're getting paid to play football. I don't know where this is going. We've all taken this kind of approach of what's going on with college football we don't like, we hate it, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like, you know, we do like that every game's on TV, but we don't like that TV's running it, and you can put games at 11 o'clock, and whatever. Look, you got to go with it. You're bystanders. We're all bystanders. You, me, Tammy, Jason, Steve Spurrier. We're all bystanders. We're just watching to see what happens. And there is no telling what this is going to look like in 10 years. I hope I'm around to see it. All right. Finally, number two on the Hesser Kipke three things. I don't know if you saw Shane Beamer's rant. But just go Google it. He hired an offensive coordinator. Nobody had ever heard of him. And I don't even remember his name. It's a weird name anyway. But I've never heard of him either. And everybody was freaking out. And a couple of guys wrote some negative things. And apparently it bothered him. So he went off and just started yelling. You guys didn't do the research. Do you know that? The guys they're not all tamped down. The screws are not all tamped down with him. He's a little bit off. Good coach, though. We'll see how that all works out for him. But go Google that to watch that. It's pretty interesting. And finally, on three things by Hesser Kipke, UNLV. How about this? Barry Odom is their head coach now, UNLV. And UNLV has a kind of a track record for hiring kind of big-name coaches, not only for football but basketball. Lon Kruger was out there for a while that have kind of failed. And Barry Odom did at Missouri, but did a pretty good job at Arkansas. So he's our head coach, but he hires Bobby Petrino to be his offensive coordinator. So that's dangerous if you're in that conference, and I can't tell you which conference it is, but it is interesting. There also are a lot of good coaches out there. Christian Robinson is not going to be retained by Auburn. He's been here. He is a really good coach. I'm not saying Florida should hire him. That's Billy Napier's call, whatever he wants to do. Ike Hilliard is out there available. Those are two coaches that somebody's going to get and be very happy with. And I did not mention this earlier when I was talking about the National Labor Relations Board, that the NCAA has a new president. He's not coming on right away, but Charlie Baker is his name. He's the Massachusetts governor. And basically they're bringing him on because they want somebody just to be able to deal with Congress. Doesn't sound like a good idea to me, but I'm going to leave it at that. That is our three things brought to you by Hesser Kipke. Let us get to our Leonardo's of Millhopper quick picks. We're going to give you two. And again, we have, let me turn this over because we've kind of decided no show on the 26th. So what we're going to do is on the 23rd, we are going to pick a winner. We're going to go ahead and pull a winner, and we're going to get you a nice prize package for Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks, including $25 at Leonardo's at Millhopper. We've got a lot of qualifiers already, but this is going to be a tough one because you got to get them both right. Gators getting 10 against Oregon State. If it was Ohio State, it would be given more than that. Oregon State, Gators giving 10, and the over-under is 53. Now, Florida keeps every game close, but they're without it's a hard bet. It's hard to decide what to go with. And I will say this, the spread did go, it went from 2.5 all the way up to 10.5 and then came back down. So there was some Florida money on it because it does seem like a lot. The over-under, I think they'll go over. I think there'll be a lot of points scored for some reason. I don't know why. This is going to be an interesting game, but I'm kind of going to be glad when it's over, to be honest with you. I want to see what they've got for next year. That's what I want to know. All right, the Adams Ribco to go. That was by the way, our Leonardo's at Millhopper quick picks. Our Adams Ribco to go Gator of the week. I thought about it for a long time, and I decided to go with Kyle Lofton. Kyle Lofton against UConn scored 0 points. He was coming off that injury, clearly wasn't ready to play. I'm not saying they shouldn't have played him. I'm just saying he just had a hard time getting back into it. Against Ohio on Wednesday night down in Tampa, ended up with 15 points, 7 assists, kind of took over the game. They weren't herky-jerky. They were more settled down. He's an important player in that lineup. Stats don't matter with him. It's what does he do to run that offense, and that's going to be big for this Florida men's basketball team going forward. Let us get to our Gainesville Quarterback Club games of the week. NFL, you got 3 Saturday games. Indy at Miami at 1, Baltimore, Cleveland at 4:30, and Miami, Buffalo at 8:15. That's Saturday because you don't have the college games. Oh, you do have some bowl games. Obviously, Florida's playing. You also have the all those games, by the way, on the NFL Network. You also have the Fenway Bowl, Cincinnati at Louisville at 11 on ESPN. And of course, the Gator game at 2:30. We'll watch that. The women. Florida women play UNC Greensboro at 2 p.m. on Sunday at home. So a chance to go out there and show them some appreciation. We've talked about this. I don't know if it's going to happen. The 3 of us are going to go to that game. Do I have to wear like Gator colors and stuff? Look, I can wear Gator colors. Like, see? Look, I got the Gator right here. Yep. All right. What are we doing next? This, that, and the other, I think would be up next. This, that, and the other. All right, this is that it's an interesting thing because we've talked about Matt Leach was a kicker for Florida. Mike Leach for a long time, and I mentioned earlier, I never really knew him, but I knew him. And the more I read about him, the more I realized I didn't know him. But there was a story I read today, and this was that when Leach was at Oklahoma, I think it was, yeah. Anyway, he told this player, he said, look, you're not going to play this year. I'm sorry. We're not going to take your scholarship away, but you're probably not going to play. But I think you'd be a good coach. Why don't you become like an assistant coach for offense, and we can work some stuff out with you. You know, you won't be on salary. You'll still be on scholarship. Blah blah blah. That player turned around and walked out. Was mad. He was so mad. How dare you disrespect me like that? And the other is that player was Lincoln Riley, who became a pretty good coach. So just another story about the great Mike Leach. Let's finally wrap it up. We probably are way over, but with Mike Leach story time, we can tell Mike Leach story times forever. Pat Dooley story time, and it's going to go to the 2009 Sugar Bowl because I was thinking about this. The one thing that makes me kind of weirded out about Florida playing a bowl game tomorrow, or if you listen to this today, or if you listen to it yesterday. Is that I'm not there, and I've been at so many bowl games for so long. I think 94 through what it would have been 2019. Always going to a bowl game. In fact, I look forward to it. It was always a great week. The one that was weird, the weirdest, was the 2009. Actually, I played in 2010 Sugar Bowl when Urban Meyer quit as my plane is landing, my phone's blowing up. And now we got there like 9 o'clock at night, and we're just having to work. And we worked till like 2 in the morning. Finally, we found one restaurant that was open near our airport or near our hotel in New Orleans. And then we start watching all the coverage of Urban Meyer leaving. And we're like, I'm sitting there, I'm like, man, I thought I had a relationship with this guy. I can't believe he did. So finally at 3 in the morning, a couple of cocktails in me, I pick up the phone and I call Urban Meyer and I leave him this scathing email. I thought we were friends, man. What is wrong with you? Why would you tell other people, not tell me? I'm just drunk, baby, stupid things. So it's 6 in the morning. Phone rings. Urban Meyer. Sorry about that, Pat. What do you need to know? I'll give you anything you need. Gives me great stuff, even way more than anybody else had. Unbelievable. I write it, I get done with it. It's probably 11:30, 12 o'clock when I get it story in. I send it in. We did have internet by then, so we got it up on the wire right away. Urban explains it all to Pat Dooley. Oh man, I'm a hero. I said, well, let me go get a workout. Let me go to the gym. I go to the gym, listen to music, come back. Phone's ringing off the hook again. Urban Meyer decided to come back. I'm like, what? What the? Of course, now he won't answer the phone to explain why he's coming back, and now my story is worthless. It just gets thrown out. That is one. I may tell a second story that's even better about that weekend, but I think about it a lot when Florida's in a bowl game. Anyway, we've gone way over time, and we'll come back on Monday with a new show. And thanks so much. Let us say goodbye to Jason. Enjoyed it. He was great. Tammy, please don't leave. Tammy's going to be here forever. You're going to find her just like a skeleton. Yeah, it's time for this, that, and the other. All right, but I hope you guys had a good time with this show. We had a lot of fun doing it, and we'll be back on Monday with another new one. Until then, I'm Pat Dooley. It is time for me to get deep way back and out of here.